vlog 130. Okay, camera, double check. Vlog 131. Let's try to keep it as short as possible though, and don't start talking for 50 minutes about all kind of stuff. No, I thought I'm gonna share something. My videos, especially the last training video, boring as hell. No voiceover, no how do you say this B-roll thing with explanations. And you know why? Because I want my videos to be more raw. Okay, I did some in between that. I'm walking around to take a little rest between the exercises. You know, I did a little speed up. But you know what? Why I'm doing this? Because that's life. Life is not one big blockbuster trailer. And even if the most richest people on the planet say, yeah, you can make your life look like a movie. Yes, you can. But don't you think that people also go to bed? Is that an event? And I mean not, you understand, just normal sleep. That you go to bed and, you know, that's gonna be one big, looks like if you would film you going to bed and your sheets go in slow motion, you know, that's gonna look like a blockbuster. Every day going to the calisthenics spots, touching the iron, or you go to the gym every day, that you lift again the dumbbells, and everything what is repetitive and beneficial for your health, physically and mental health, that's constantly one big blockbuster and or very fancy looking TikTok video with you in the gym bro outfit that actually blows away any kind of male and female off the planet. You know, that stars are sprinkling from your ears the moment that you step out of your car, or you know, the electric scooter that you step off, and that your shoes, they brighten up because you touch the ground. No. And that's my reason. I want to show people that everything what's repetitive becomes boring unless you start really thinking about what you're doing. And that's why for me, I also, before I listened a lot to him with my headphones to music, but it's distracting. I like to focus now on every single fragment of, let's say, a rep. And maybe if you saw my TikTok videos from last year, you know, and then maybe from a few days ago, so there's at least 1 year in between, yeah, logical. But there is a difference. I think that I'm way much more in control because I put way much more thought in it. And I'm telling you the way I think about it, so maybe you can do something with it. Because if somebody would had told me this last year, and maybe you would think, yeah, though, I already knew that. I put a lot of thought in it. Okay, then you way ahead than me. I'm fucking 46, and I now really, you know, really focused on each rep, you know. I'm thinking also maybe a little bit the shoulder, a little bit like this, fingers, a little bit more, maybe power on the pinky, you know. I didn't think about it maybe even 2 months ago. And what I also always say, you know, in previous vlogs, you know, probably after 1 week later, I will start thinking again, what an idiot, did you think like this, you know? But now I do think like this. So my vlogging are also a little bit a diary. And when it's about diary or journals, I think journals sounds a little bit more masculine, right? In case some people might have in the negative things. Oh, that sounds pretty gay though. Huh? Thing is, I got nothing against gay people, but you know, I had some comments here and there. But you know what? I thought about this also. When it's about negativity, and I'm not going to talk too much about it, I had just a little one-way conversation. I dropped some video messages and I said and so I calculated the amount of views only on the Instagram are 70,000 plus views. Okay, that is not a lot for a lot of people. A lot of people also simply not engaging. But the thing is, people see it. 70,000 plus, that's 25. It was actually 76,000 the past 30 days, so that's 2,500 plus a day. You know, the people who watch my stuff, and a big percentage is from Sofia, Bulgaria. And the funny thing is, people also start sending me DMs from people that I just bumped in last year, people that I actually asked for, and if you're watching this, that I asked them, you're already selling Nalivna Bira, and the thing is that is draft beer, and he actually sent me a message, and then I noticed he DM'd me on Instagram, and then I thought, yeah, you know, a bigger reach, and even if they don't let's say engage or like your post, you never know who is watching your stuff. And you know, that is really all the the platforms combined. There's a guy coming, so I have to be a little bit like this. The thing is, all the platforms combined, so if I only have let's say 76,000 views on my account on the Instagram thing, then per short, yeah, they went a little bit down on YouTube. So all combined, let's say 100k plus, including all the, at the moment I'm distributing, I think, to 10 Facebook pages. Not only this, the Facebook pages, then we got the TikTok accounts, multiple accounts. Yeah, so that's probably around 100k. I need to check it. Anyway, to get back to this, again, also when it's about the video thing, I don't expect too much from it, but I can already see some sort of ripple effect that, you know, and it also tells me something about that a lot of people who watch your stuff, they're not enticed, or, you know, they don't feel to engage with you yet, but I do notice it. And you know what, when people start reaching out on DMs, that's another thing. People start reaching out on DMs that I haven't spoken to, or I'm gonna be honest, I also forgot about it a little bit, because you know, when I talk with people, if they don't make some sort of an impact, and or that there's a recurring meeting or something, then I not always remember that. But I do really appreciate it when people reach out, you know, because somehow I respect it also, because a lot of people do not have the so-called balls, right? They think, oh yeah, maybe he doesn't like it. Even if I would not like it, and which that's totally not true, you know, just do it, because I do like it, and I do like to speak with people. And by the way, when it's about the negative ones, I'm not even responding to them, because, you know, for obvious reasons. Anyway, not that because I'm a coward, but the thing is, there's no debate possible with people with, let's say, the higher level of negativity, which is hate. And yeah, now we all know where that comes from the bottom. Anyway, not only this, I began this vlog with the fact that I want to make my videos more raw and unedited, simply to show this is real life. You know, when you over there, you can see the calisthenics spot. You know, every time that you try to do a pull-up in the beginning, you may be a little bit enthusiastic. You know, you think, yeah, now I'm gonna do it. You fail, and then you give up. Let's see, giving up, then you belong where you probably coming from. You know, also don't wish for more in life. But if you bite through this boredom, I like to call it boredom. Although boredom is exciting, in my opinion, because I know when things become, let's say, boring, then I know that's normal people thinking. And then I also think I'm gonna bash through it and double down on it. Again, boring, more variation, get more into the details. See, and when it's about details, it's so relevant and to business, or applicable also to business, because a lot of people, you know, and by the way, when it's about Bulgaria, I'm not gonna open any projects anymore over here with anyone, with all the respect, but that's another story. I will talk about this, by the way. But you know, when it's about business projects, And a lot of people, and they're also so stuck in their normal thinking because they can tell the rest around them, you know, I'm in business, and they give you all kind of shoulder knocks. Some people even chase 1 or 2 million, and that's the end of the goal, or that's the end goal, 1 or 2 million. Yeah, that's all fun, but in the meantime, you just give away your dignity and everything, because I know from people who are chasing just as an end result 2 million, you know, as cash flow, but in the meantime, they suck dick, wearing suits, sweating their ass off, and just live a life of, you know, delivering, you know, the dignity is all over the floor. And in the meantime, preaching about being stoic. And I know from people who actually were preaching towards me about being stoic, while I knew that their life was much more than normal, above comfort. So they were preaching me about being stoic, and the moment they had a little argument with their spouse, they were crying their eyes out. See, is that something that you want? Is that something what you want to see? Huh? A guy in a suit, and you would say he has a fucking lease car and he's chasing every month that kind of money because he has to pay the mortgage, his lease car and everything, and suck dick to get a little bit of cash flow, to keep the cash flow going. And then they are two different personalities with preaching like keep business and things of a personal life and business separate. Is that the kind of person you want to become? Maybe, but I prefer to be the guy who walks in, white t-shirt, short pants, speak and bring value to the table, entertainment, and make people think that things are a little bit different. And I'm not bragging about myself, but I'm just asking you, which one do you prefer to be? That you can speak with the homeless people, that you can speak with people in pretty high positions, that you sat down, let's say, with some chess masters from the past, and they were so comfortable with you, you get so fucking hammered with them, and they shit in their pants. I think that's what you want, because that's in my opinion, because that makes you so human, also makes you feel so fulfilled. And I'm sharing this from my own life, you know. I cannot mention those names, obviously. And I'm also not gonna say from which country, but you know what, you can take away. And when it's about, yeah, I don't have to believe you though, no, you don't have to, but I'm just sharing. I just, you know, made a little bit of vision about who you want to be, or also I give you a choice who you definitely don't want to be. So if the choice is, do you want to wear a suit, lick ass, give up your dignity because you're a total different person, and you say, yeah, but Alan, business and personal life totally different. So you are not you when you're on your place of business. So you're so let's say half of your life you walk around fake. So which part of your character is growing then, if you know, just being fake half of the day? And let's pretend that you work hard, and according to normal self-employed business people, you do 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, because you need 2 days off. Do you know why you need 2 days off? Because you're doing something where you're not 100% behind. Really think about this. If you're the person who is actually, you know, now I need 2 days off, I'm tired, and I need to get away from it, I need holiday pictures, I need to share this with my people around me, because otherwise they think I'm a dork. Well, think about a couple of things. Are you hanging around with the right crowd? Do you need to show them that you're on the fucking beach? Do you need to show your fucking face on a billboard with a suit and tie and say, this is my product, I'm the best? But in the meantime, you're sitting on the couch at home in a jogging suit, just like me when I walk around and do my meetings. You know, which one? Which one? Which one do you prefer? And of course, like I always say, nobody wants to live the life exactly the way other people would live. And what I always do, I have a couple of people that I don't want to say that I'm an idol, or a fan or idolize them, but there are, I think, beautiful people with beautiful characters that I would like to take a percentage from and mix it up in my own and see if I can at least see. I'm always looking around because there's a guy coming to run. So, you know, just take a percentage of it. And again, when it's about boring, because like I try to do, stay around one topic and try to put it in some sort of multiple contexts. Is that even a word? You know, so you can understand why I'm saying that boring is actually so important to actually recognize it and pinch through it. So when it's about boring, I actually lost my whole thought. Boring. You know what? We're not gonna cut this out like all my things. But I think you have to start recognize which part of your life are boring and actually are good habits, you know, that brings you closer to your goal. And also had a thought about this. If you have some sort of a goal, and especially when you don't have one, make for the rest of the week, let's say a week, because and most people want to do everything in a few seconds and see the result. What I would suggest, make a list of all the things that you don't want, all the things, even if they're so ridiculous that you would say, no, that is for some other people totally logical that somebody doesn't want it. But the thing is, just list them like this, you will figure it out. And I do believe that there's one way that if they would have told me, because when I was 16 and was sitting on a dumbass school, you know, the guy, the principal, because I was, you know, I had to skip a year again, so I was sitting with younger people, and then the guy, I skipped multiple times. But the thing is, the guy, the principal or whatever, the director, I don't know. The thing is, the guy, he asked, what do you actually want with your life? 16, I was a totally nutcase, but the thing is, what do you want with your life? And if you really think about it, this guy was a fucking adult. He was, I think at that time, 50 plus. If I would sit with the 16-year-old, I would say this, you know, list all the things out that you really don't want to do. Because the things that you really want to do when you're 16, you don't know. Because until you're 30, and let's say you live a normal people life, you know, you don't get arrested, you don't, you know, too much stress, you know, you get once in a while you stress, you break up with one of your girls, and I don't know what, all kind of normal people stuff, here and there, your grandmother dies, all kind of normal. See, then you will need many years and many experience to actually figure it out. And if you live a normal person life, and I also talked about this in other vlogs, you know, be so careful with actually being careful. You know, maybe at those moments in my younger years, I had many times I would say, oh my god, Allah, where do we go with this? I can give, let's see, which one shall we take? One good example, I think, is the moment that I stood up in class and I said, I'm so fed up with this bullshit. So I just stood up, and then those people in the same class, they were looking at me driving away on my I had a Gilera and I drove away. But at that point, when I was away from school, I was thinking, uh-oh, this is pretty you know, abrupt. But I was so fed up, you know, because I was a so-called marketing class, biggest bullshit on the planet, would totally not be applicable in anything that I'm doing now. And they would also never go into, for example, setting up the basic strategies that can be done by somebody else. If I talk with 10 minutes, for 10 minutes with everybody who meets me, by the way, I thought about this. If you see me walking on the street here in Sofia, Bulgaria, and you are a positive guy, don't want to beat me up or you know, shout at me because I'm black or whatever you think, Chinese, Negro, just talk to me. I will give you 10 minutes of my time and I'd tell you what to do from now. And then within a couple of months you come back and you will say, oh Don, that works actually. I never knew that it was so simple. Now I'm telling you this. Now when you see me walking on the street, just ask me. You know, and there's another thing. I want to do maybe a little bit of an apology. Some people who I look in the eyes, and that happens a lot, they think sometimes that I don't want to talk with them because, you know, because I then don't recognize you that anymore. And the thing is, this is no disrespect, but you know, the amount of people, and I'm gonna be honest about this, some people, they don't make a big impression, and it is no disrespect, but that's simply the reason that I don't recognize you. And it's not, and I always, you know, willing to talk with people. Let me do this as a quick in-betweener. Wait a minute, I want to drink. So so just say something, you know. And like I said, I will give you a 10-minute very easy to do explanation how to start. You know, most people don't know where to start. They're looking into trading, they're looking into e-commerce, and they never finish anything. I've been there, done that. And in the beginning I always looking at so many courses. I'm gonna be honest, I went through 2 terabytes of courses. I still have them on my Google Drive. Now there is nothing that I would recommend to anybody. Me, let's cut really cut everything, all the trees of the forest down, and I'm gonna tell you what's left. Especially when you have to start from nothing, build an audience manually. And I'm gonna say again, I did this, told this before in previous vlogs. Facebook page, take the content from Pinterest, share maybe some YouTube posts, and you're just a reporter. And you build up. At one point you give a little bit your own 2 cents about it. You actually start recording your own videos, but you start somewhere that you see, hey, and I already explained this before, but you know, if you're into some kind of niche, you grab the images from Pinterest, you leave a little bit, you know, on the source where it comes from, the picture, you know, so you give the credit to the creator. You maybe hand first the title, description, hashtags, and then maybe you start writing your own 2 cents. If you're too shy for that, you know, don't do it. Just build first a little bit inventory, you know, and then you start building the audience. And once you got an audience, you start automating it, and then you build the next one. And before you know, after 1 year, you got maybe after 10 audiences. And the thing is, I'm talking to people who have normal jobs. And let's say it also like this, if you're one of those self-employed people who scroll the whole day looking for different kind of projects that they could do without actually making the one that they have really ridiculous work. No, they don't. They look for all kind of dumb stuff that is actually doesn't bring any kind of real money in. See, that's also another thing. A lot of, let's say, under 30 self-employed people, they think if you do 10 grand a month, that is out of this world. But the thing is, people, we live in an era, you know, anyway. I think that is also something about the place, the location where you live, but also the people that you hang around with. So let me say this, in my past I was hanging around with 9 to 5 people way too much, and that didn't, yeah, I think that also held me back. But not only this, and I thought about this in the shower this morning, because then I get very creative, because then I also leave my phone usually in the room. And I thought about this, 9 to 5 people have a whole different mentality. And by the way, again, no disrespect, but if you're a guy who wants, or girl who wants to do more in life, you need to mingle, at least mingle or hang around people who also want to do a little bit more, because this whole 9 to 5 mentality comes with a whole set of characteristics that you have to get rid of. And if you don't get rid of them while you're growing, they keep you running with the handbrake. And that's what I did. But not only this, I also start hiring them. The dumbest thing you can ever do, because you think they will change. Maybe also they have the heart and the balls to continue when things go bananas. No, no. You clean up their stuff and they go really quickly back to where they belong. You know, they have to have a master. You know, they say from 9 till 5 you're over here. You will get health insurance so you can brush your teeth less, and the dentist will clean it up for free. Well, that is all fun, but you have to get rid of those people. Then they come also with a whole lot of other baggage. I'm gonna talk about one other situation. I know one guy from the past. He had always a 9 to 5 mentality, but he always talks about the past. Why? Because he has nothing going on in his life that is worth talking about, and or you know, he would not even learn anything from it anymore. Yes, he has a wife and a child. Good. There is nothing special about this anymore these days. Everybody has children, not me. And of course, maybe one day I will still have children. The thing is, there is nothing really special about it. Yes, he's a great father. He's the best father on the planet in the eyes of his daughter or son. But you know, that is not something that people would make a blockbuster about and think about like this. And then again, now you might say, Dalen, that is very contradictional. And life is about pinching through the boredom. Yeah, pinching through. So if it's about developing the relationship with your daughter, you know, you make things exciting. Actually, in one book of Jim Rohn, he actually talked about it. He has one whole chapter about lifestyle. It's, I think the name, the title of the book is The 5 Major Pieces of the Puzzle of Life, or something like this. But you know what, when it's about titles, I always forget the exact title, but I read that book so many times, and he talks about a situation where the daughter asked her father, can I have the tickets to the concert? And then the father says no. But that was situation 1. And the situation 2, the father would say, what if we go together, I buy you the ticket, and present the ticket in a very nice and gestureful way, with great intention. And after that, maybe before that, they're gonna buy her a dress and maybe go for a dinner. Like this, he said, you make things very, very, very thoughtful, and your relationship very colorful. And it is with a lot of stuff. There are a lot of examples like that in that specific book. The 5 major pieces of the life puzzle. I think that's it. Anyway, just look for it. Jim Rohn. Jim, just normal like Jim, and then R-O-H-N. I read that book so many times that I steal the title. But anyway, I'm not reading the title over and over. I read so many passages. You can find, by the way, if you think that's all not true, Dalen, go on Goodreads and look for .com. I highlighted so much stuff, and you can see my highlights of that book also over there. Goodreads.com, and you will find me. Next to that, yeah, pins through the boredom. I am going to do now the calisthenics, and I'm going to give myself a challenge. Whew. If you've watched some of my calisthenics shorts, you know I'm doing them. One of them was the slower straight leg raises with 2 hands on the bar. Now I want to do with 1 hand on the bar. I visualized this for many hours. I already did multiple attempts last year. I did not maintain the repetition, so now you get something to pinch me about. Like, yeah, darling, you said you have to pinch to the boredom. Yes, that's totally true. You're right, I admit. The thing is, now I'm gonna go for it, and let's see how fast I can do it. I do actually the reverse version first, because I don't know if I have the physical strength over here, especially today. Yesterday I did the 10 kilometer thing plus 1 hour calisthenics. Excuse? No. Maybe realistic, maybe, maybe I'm delusional, but I'm even no matter what's gonna try it. But I'm gonna do it reverse. So I'm gonna grab two hands, straight legs, and then let one hand go, and then slowly, 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 and again. And I do believe when you reverse engineer your goal, so when you figure out, and so we're getting back a little bit to the part when I talked about if you don't know what you want to do, figure out all the things that you don't want to do, and at one point you have maybe a list of 10 things that you actually do want to go for, reverse engineer. You know, what do I need to do? And don't start talking like normal people stuff. I need money, I need this and that. Think about this story of Richard Branson, how he started the Virgin Airlines. I don't know the exact name of his airline company, but he started with no money. So, you know, I mentioned this also before, but look for the story Richard Branson, you know, Virgin Airlines, Virgin, I don't know. Just look for it. So maybe you can keep that in mind, that the big people, the huge people, they don't need money. And next to that, I also never had a bank loan and or whatever, like very usual people do. Yeah, also now I'm gonna give you another example. For when I was 41, I also lost pretty much everything, and that endured at least till I think 42. Now I'm 46, and I built for multiple years a very strong foundation, which I'm now actually upscaling like a madman. And those upscaling methods I'm using mainly make.com for. Why? For multiple reasons. Budget friendly, so versatile you don't want to know. You can build scenarios for automation you don't want to know. The thing is, the ones that you want to know is the ones I am using, and I'm giving them away on my store. You can find the link in the description. I give everything away so you can get started. Where would I start charging money? If I have to do it for you, if I have to do it with you, for obvious reasons. You know, in the past, and that's also with the vlogging journey, in the past I had long talks with people for 2-3 hours. In the end, or in the beginning, they would say, oh, I'm so motivated, I'm gonna do this, try this, try that. And in the end, they don't do anything. So I prefer to record it like this. Maybe a small amount of people would see it. Even a smaller amount of a very tiny percentage, 0.001% would actually start doing with it. If I spark maybe 10 people their brain before I get kicked off this planet into the ground, or maybe into the fireplace, you know, that they burn me to ashes or cut me up in pieces and throw me over there in the Vitija mountain. You know, if I spark at least, let's say 10 people before I go off the planet, and they making life-changing yeah, I don't know what, they change their lives and the people around them, I'm good to go. Anyway, boring, and that's what this vlog is about, boring. And again, the vlog of yesterday, I slapped it together, no sound, no voiceover, no B-rolls, and that's how training actually is. You know, it's not like one big Fast and Furious trailer, a non-stop trailer. Everything is pinned through the boredom, and you will be better than 99% of the people on the planet. And it's not about that you dominate them like Hitler, because in the end that also didn't work out very well for him. But you know, for yourself, you know, join life on a higher level. I'm not bragging, but my level of freedom is ridiculous, huh? But that's another topic. Just but also the whole reason for that is, see, I did a lot of dumb stuff and I learned a lot from it, but I also pinch, and there's a lot of things that, let's say, that I also not even talk about. The hours and hours, weeks and weeks, sometimes months, sitting in a room. And I'm not, of course, I had to go out, take a shit also, and showers, and you know, months and months, huh? Sometimes to figure out one little tiny thing. I spent months on the cold emailing, but we're not getting into this now. This is about pins through the boredom, and you will much better off. You develop your brain, your body, your whole character in a much faster way, by the way, when you pin through the boredom, you know, instead of just jumping from left and right, then go try this, try that. You know, like I said, also there's a lot of self-employed people that look for all kind of ventures. It has nothing to do with what they're actually doing, and what they're doing, they're actually not better at it than their competition, and or put a little bit, you know, unique flavor to the game, because they're already looking ahead to get a little bit more money. Let's end with this little thought. Don't focus on the money, focus on the value and that you can give to the world around you, including your family. Show a little bit more appreciation. In case your parents are still alive, you know, show them appreciation. Anyway, I have to go to pins through my boredom routine. Calisthenics. And I love it, huh? Anyway, ciao for now.